Hello, and welcome to the Gameplay Cast review for the RPG Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader. Rogue Trader is an RPG developed and published by Owlcat Games. The game is set in the Warhammer 40k universe, where you play the part of one of the Imperial's elite Rogue Traders. For those who don't know, a Rogue Trader is an exceptional individual handpicked by the Emperor or High Lords of the Imperium. These individuals are given a huge amount of freedom and resource in order to go out into the distant parts of the galaxy to conquer and explore. In exchange, they must occasionally perform missions for the Imperium, put down a rebellion, or remind a distant world that the Imperium is still watching. You get the picture. The game released in December of 2023, and is in this man's opinion a throwback to the glory days of PC RPGs. It's got a very old school Baldur's Gate / D&D feel, mixed with a bit of XCOM. So turn-based combat, immersive RPG narrative, exploration, and a personal favourite, complex levelling and morality system, rounded off with a ton of items and upgrades. What's not to like? Time I ask the all-important question then. Is it heresy? Happily, this is another 40k game where the Inquisition does not need to be called. The game is not to be found wanting. To decide if you should add Rogue Trader to your game library or not, continue watching to hear my justification, as well as the final score out of 10. Man, I miss games like this. The styling and gameplay hark back to those days where RPGs and RTS games were the staple of gaming. Good times. Thankfully, due to the imminent and ongoing collapse of AAA gaming, we are starting to see a whole new generation of AA game developers step into the breach. And all I can say is, it's about time. This type of game is all about narrative choices and decision-based gameplay, so substance over style. This is where gaming needs to go back to. Happily, the game has some great narrative choices that, combined with a decent morality system, actually have an impact on the game's outcome and gameplay. The order you choose to do events in matters. There are consequences to your choices, and the game tries to create moral dilemmas for the player to try and logic out. Was it the right answer? Who knows? I personally love an in-depth character leveling system, as well as a never-ending Aladdin's cave of equipable items, weapons and armors, and in this, the game delivers a satisfying experience. As with all RPGs, there's a lot of duplicate item drops, and the currency system here is kind of strange, in that as a Rogue Trader you probably have more than enough credits to buy most things, so when you trade to build up reputation in order to unlock rarer trading options. It's fair enough, just not what you usually get. On top of all the items, abilities and weapons, there's also a host of characters to unlock for your party. You also get to interact with these characters, and even romance a few if that's the way you want to play. I suppose an obvious question is, does this game make you feel like a Rogue Trader? In an RPG sense, I think it's fair to say it does. You get to make decisions and build your empire as the game progresses. I think a little bit of resource management and some more strategy level decisions might have elevated the experience and added another dimension, but alas, we don't always get what we want. Turn-based gameplay, again, I love it. Nothing against the new Final Fantasies, but without turn-based battles, is it really a Final Fantasy game? I'm not really sure. Anyway, here we get some proper turn-based battles. There's a good amount of complexity, good abilities, and the AI isn't too bad either. Even on lower difficulties, the AI doesn't mess about too much and will punish the player for making mistakes. I'm all for this. Games need to be challenging, to be fun, and I think I can put a tick in the box here as well.
Heresy grows from idleness.
There is definitely the occasional graphical error or glitch in the game. Like, don't get me wrong, nothing that has made it unplayable, but a few odd bits and pieces from time to time have occurred. These don't really spoil the experience, but are noticeable nonetheless. Here's my first contradiction, haha. Well, some of the choices that seem really basic can have far-reaching consequences that impact the outcome of the entire game. So while this is kind of cool to see a seemingly minor decision have major consequences, it's a bit gutting that one decision may take you down a path that you ultimately never wanted to go down, meaning you might have to revert to a much earlier save, or even start again. I guess you need to be careful about your choices. This is not really something that overly bothers me about the game, but I can see it frustrating some. In a similar vein, the complexity in character leveling and equipment may be borderline too much for some players, not me. As mentioned previously, I personally love complexity and depth in character choice and equipment, but I can see that this might throw more casual players. Overall, the game's old school RPG feel with a focus on the narrative and decision based interactions as opposed to cutscenes and graphics is its main strength. That and the insane depth built into the game's items, upgrades and weapons. The turn-based nature of the game's combat complements this and really sells the whole package. The fact that it throws a lot of decisions and options at you might put some players off, as will the slower, more tactical-based combat. Personally, I love it. We should have dozens of games like this in the 40k setting, and it's a travesty. Scratch that. It's heretical that we don't. Equally, the odd glitch and error is forgivable. I'm sure the game and the studio will improve over time. I think the only real critiques I have is that I feel proper resource management is missing from the game. I'd love to have seen a kind of strategy-based top-level system to manage resources, as well as to maintain and expand your empire. I'd also love to have seen the game fully voice-acted too. All in all, for an opening gambit, I think the game is good, despite being a bit rough around the edges in some aspects. As such, I award it an easy and well-deserved 8 out of 10. Definitely worth a go for any Warhammer 40k and RPG fans out there, and worthy of the Gameplay Cast's thumbs up. Anyway, that is all you get, and as always, f*** Erebus.